Hi, hello, and welcome to GRB Crochet. My name is Jax, and I'll talk to you about anything and everything crochet, knitting, and fiber arts related on this channel. In today's video, I want to make some Valentine's Day gifts for my boyfriend because it's that month, it's February, and at the time of recording, Valentine's Day is 2 weeks away, so I better get started. Now, my plan for the projects I want to make is actually using these yarns here, these pink ones. I just went to Michael's the other day and bought them because I don't have really any chenille or plush yarn, and I wanted the things to be pink. So that's my only reason. The dark and the light, like solid pink, are Sweet Snuggles. And I haven't used either of these yarns before, so I guess this will also be like a mini yarn review. But the stuff is like pretty soft. I was gonna say, I've heard online that this kind of sheds a lot. I don't know, I'm really having to like pick at it to even get anything. But there's this one in, so I think they cut the color name off because it's like taped back on, unless it's under this. I did rip the label off, but it's just numbers. So I'm gonna call it magenta, not SN28. So we have the magenta color here that now is exploding. And this baby pink one. Very cute, very cute. I was gonna buy a white because I plan to make a bee, but I already have some white chenille. I think it's brunette baby blanket yarn. I'm not sure, but I have it, so I didn't have a need to buy it. And I have a bunch of like glitter, like big glitter sinker eyes that I want to use, so I'll probably use like a pink pair on the bee. Knocking everything down, I guess. The other yarn is the Sweet Snuggles Lite in, again, it's just numbers, but it's very, it has a baby pink, and some white and magenta speckles, so it's like the same kind of colors as the Sweet Snuggles one. And it's just a tiny bit thinner than the other ones. But I want to make some cute little teddy bears out of this one. I think it'll be really cute. And the two patterns I'll be using are, for the bee, it's one by 1 Cent Crochet, and for the bears, it's by Avocado Handmade. And I'll put those both in the description if you want to look at those. For the bee, it will be larger. I'll be making one that's larger than the ones in the video because I want it to be a really big bee. But anyways, probably gonna do the bee first because it's the most simple, and I really just want to make it the size to where it uses up basically all of that yarn. So yeah, I haven't done a ton of amigurumi using like big yarn because Sweet Snuggles is considered a jumbo. So I think I should use a 5.5 or a 6 on this. But basically, the stripes are going to be, the face is going to be the dark magenta, and then it'll be the baby pink, magenta, baby pink, and then end on magenta. And then I want to make 2 little wings in a heart shape, and then yeah, let's just get started. just wanted to interject really quickly. You know, I'm going along all fine, and I hit this kind of like rough, it's not like rough feeling, but it's like you can see that, right? And then a couple down, there's a factory knot, which, I mean, isn't a huge deal. But, I do get why some people, a lot of people, don't particularly like Sweet Snuggles, because it is shedding a fair bit, and I don't know if it's, like, there's kind of chunks all over my pants, but I don't know if it's just, like, from this starting end that it's, like, coming off of, or if it's, like, while I'm working. So, just, I mean, yeah, you can see, like, right here, there is, like, some spots where it just, like, comes up. And, I mean, luckily, neither of these things are going to be going to, like, a baby or something. So it's not a huge deal, but I guess if you've also never worked with Sweet Snuggles before and, like, shedding is a big issue for you, maybe don't get this yarn. It is extremely soft, though, I will say that. But it is shedding quite a bit. And also, in hindsight, since I was using such large yarn, I should have started with a single crochet 8 instead of a 6. But I don't feel like going back. So, I'm gonna keep trucking along. Okay, guys, as you can see, the body of the bee is finished and stuffed. He's pretty hefty. I think after I put his wings on and everything, I'm gonna weigh him. But, oh my goodness, Sweet Snuggles sheds so much. So much. I think at the very end of this video, I'll give kind of more in-depth of my thought, but here he is. You can see his nose is a little cone shaped. I should have started with an 8 single crochet instead of a 6, but what can you do? Now, any of this leftover baby pink I had is in here. Like, I wasn't wasting any of it. So this is stuffed with half of what was in here. So this was like full and like bulging with stuffing. And then all of my scrap yarn that was in here, which as you can see it's just the magenta now, is also in the bee. And in hindsight, I guess I could have put this in there, but I used it to sew it up, so whatever. And then again, the leftover of this baby pink, I want to say it was like a third of that skein is in here near the back, but he doesn't feel too lumpy. I mean, a lot of his shape is in the front part, but that's okay. Pretty chunky boy. But I did make one of the wings. They're gonna be little hearts. They're very cute. And I'll put the heart pattern for specifically chunky yarn that I used in the description. I did add just a round of single crochets around the border of it to make it a little bigger.
So just right after they're finished making that heart in the tutorial, I did slip stitches up the chains, 2 single crochets in the treble crochet stitches, and straight single crochet down the double crochet, straight single crochets down the double crochets, and then I did 3 single crochets at the very point treble crochet, which if you watch the video you'll know why I'm saying those things. And same thing on this side, just if you want to make this exact same thing. I think when I get ready to sew it, I'm gonna purposefully bring this line down, and then I'll tie it with this one in the back. With this one in the back. That way I can just sew it with 2 strings from the bottom. But I'm gonna make another one and then attach it to the bee, and he will be done. Done. Look at him. And the hearts like really stand up by themselves. He's so cute. He's very squishy, I will say. Very, very squishy. I think my boyfriend is going to love him. Let me get some measurements for you guys so you can visualize how big he is. Okay, wait, he's like 8. Is that 8? He's like 8 inches wide. Seems to be about 14 inches long. Pretty big. And I'll put up how much he weighs on the screen because I don't feel like doing it right now. He's a big boy, but I love him. Next, I'm going to start on the bears. So, roll the clip. Hi guys, I'm fixing to start working on the bears with the Sweet Snuggles Lite. And I'm a bit scared because I can already tell it's gonna shed, I don't know if you can see that, as much as the normal Sweet Snuggles. So I'm really not looking forward to that. But I'm gonna try using my 4mm for this. If that's a little too big, I'll go down maybe half a size. But yeah, I'm gonna get started on those. As you just saw, I started on the bears, and basically it's done, or one of them is done, almost. He still just needs to be sewn together, but look at him. He's so cute even without a face. And he's pretty small. And I'm sorry for not getting much footage of me actually making him. I was really locked in. But I want to say this took like maybe 2 hours to make. Very simple. I did just change a few things. So just follow the pattern exactly if you want. Again, it'll be linked down below. But on the muzzle, I did another round of single crochets. I did 5 single crochets, and then I did 3 slip stitches just to give the muzzle some like height. And then it called for 6 single crochets and a magic ring for the ears, but I just did 4 just because. But I'm going to add his little eyes and embroider him a little face and then sew him together and stuff him, and then he'll be done. and I'll probably make another one. It really doesn't take up that much yarn, but I really wanted like a bigger bear, so I think after I make another one, I want to do a different bear pattern that should be a bit larger. So yeah, let's finish this guy up. Okay, so this is what I picked for the face. I don't know why, but I really want to use these oval eyes. And then I was able to get like a really small nose. I will have to like put fabric glue or something on the post of this and then stick it in, because there's no back part showing through the muzzle and then through the head. So I think I'm just gonna do these. I can't tell if he's crooked or not. It's fine. Really cute. I love him. Okay, let's finish him up. Here he is. Oh my gosh. Guys, he's so cute. He's so stinking cute. Like, and the way the like yarn worked out, it just looks like he's with his mouth. It's so freaking cute. I don't know if you guys saw me struggling, but I did have to switch to an acrylic yarn when sewing his head on, cause oh, it was shedding like crazy. But it was only really on that part, like doing the head. On like all the other parts, it was pretty okay. He's so cute. I feel like he's like looks better in person than on camera. Like, he's adorable. I love him. And he's very like small. He's very palm sized. It was a really good bear pattern, I'll be honest. It just needed a bit of love. Ooh, man. I would definitely use a different yarn. I have some petite pearl from Loops and Threads, and I think it sheds much less than this stuff, like both of the Sweet Snuggles. So I might make some more bears out of this. I don't know. But he's cute. He will likely have a little friend, and then maybe a bigger version of him. Kind of depends how quickly I can make both of them. But again, he only took me like 2 hours of just crocheting, and really not even that long of putting everything in. I would have had him done in one sitting if I had everything with me. I was not at my house, so I didn't have my eyes or like my black thread. But I just love how he's like sticking his tongue out, just because that's just how the yarn came together on his muzzle. Oh, he's so stinking cute. But I'll catch y'all later when I probably have more of these little guys, so. Here they are. They're so cute. And they're definitely siblings, not twins. I made this second one without really referencing the first one. So he looks a little bit different, but they're still really cute. And they're very, like, small, yet, like, oh, they're perfect. They fit right, like, in my hand. And I have pretty kind of small hands, but I'd say they're like 4 inches tall. And this actually took up a lot more yarn than I thought. I don't know exactly how much, like grams wise, but for some reason I thought I would have enough yarn to make a third bear that is probably, 10 times the size of these ones. And obviously I could not, because this is all I have of it. I've only done the head and a part of the body. And I told myself I wasn't gonna go and get more yarn to make it. But also part of me was like, I don't want to just have another whip lying around. So I got some more. I did get it for like $4 off though, so it wasn't too bad. And my Michaels is like finally trying to expand the knit and sew shop. But that kind of means that they're moving everything around. Because they're just taking other shelves that other things are on, so everything's just moved around. But I will say, as I was looking for this, I found it, and I was looking at other plush yarn. I was like kind of plucking at the yarn while I was in there. And I will say some Sweet Snuggles yarn was less sheddy than the ones I had gotten. I'm sure it's just, dependent on what lot of yarn you get. But that's like a good thing to do if you're in store yarn shopping, especially if you're using fluffy yarn, to just like test it. Because obviously certain spots on yarn will also shed more than elsewhere. But the Loops and Threads Demi Pearl and Bernat Blanket, like Mystical, that's just what they had on the shelf. I couldn't find normal Bernat Blanket. Both of those like didn't shed at all when I was messing with them in store. And that's not to say they won't shed at all if you're working with them, but I'll probably keep those two in mind if I decide to make more amigurumi in the future. But Sweet Snuggles and Sweet Snuggles Lite as a whole, they are definitely C or B tier if I were to have like a ranking from F to S of chenille yarn. Colors are beautiful. I really like the thickness, or I guess just the weight of yarn that Sweet Snuggles Lite is. I find it very good for amigurumi. Like, I don't know if this helps you guys any, but this is Sweet Snuggles Lite with a 4mm hook. And it doesn't hurt my hands or anything. Sweet Snuggles wasn't hurting my hands a lot. It was shedding a lot more than the Sweet Snuggles Lite. This was only really shedding when I was sewing or attempting to sew with it, and like at the ends of the yarn, which is kind of expected. But Sweet Snuggles was kind of shedding throughout the whole process. Like there's pink fluff all over my carpeted floor. But sewability wise, I didn't really sew much. I didn't really sew at all with the Sweet Snuggles, so I can't really attest to that. What I think is Bernat Blanket or something or other was fine, because that was the white part on the wings. But I can't attest to Sweet Snuggles and its sewability. But for Sweet Snuggles Lite, it was okay to sew with. I wouldn't recommend sewing on larger portions, like the head on either of them. I literally couldn't. It was just fraying so much, and it would bunch up and then want to break. So I just used an acrylic yarn that was a similar color. I just used a random pink I had. But for sewing on like limbs and everything, it was pretty fine. Overall, the yarns are definitely maybe high C, low B. I don't really know what my true rankings are. Let's do a scale of 1 to 10. I'd say they're a solid 6. Solid 6, yep. But here are all of our creations we did in this video. We lost one. But, yep, we got our big old bee and our little baby bears. And I hope this video inspired you to make something for maybe yourself or one of your loved ones this Valentine's season and Black History Month, of course. Can't forget that. But, yep. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if and when I finish that larger bear, I will post it on my Instagram. So follow me there if you want to see it finished. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And